Hello students, welcome to another tutorial arranged by Childcare School and College. I am Ashiqul Islam here with you all the way. Today we are going to learn the narration of interrogative sentences, especially with the questions that starts with do, don't and did, didn't. I strongly urge you to take notes of all the things that you learn here in this video. So without further ado, let's jump into the lesson. So, before we jump into the main lesson or solving problems, let's see some basics of do verb, and this process only works in present indefinite and past indefinite tense. So the auxiliary do verb works in this way. Like, if the sentence is in present indefinite tense, you see that I have written down an example sentence that says you play football. Here, the person, you, whoever it is does the job of playing football. Now, when I say you play football, if I want to change it into interrogative sentence, I definitely need the help of an auxiliary verb, and here we don't have an auxiliary verb, so we can take the help of do, because play is an action verb or something that we do. So for that we put the verb do here. So we can say it in this way, that you do play football. Well, you play football and you do play football, they basically mean the same thing. What you need to do is just put the do in front of the subject, and it becomes an interrogative sentence. So, you do play football becomes, do you play football? So that's a yes-no question, as you know, because the auxiliary verb is right here before the subject, and we don't have any interrogative pronoun. Again, if we want to change this into an interrogative sentence that is a WH question, we just need to put an interrogative pronoun in front of it, and it will become an interrogative question with the value of interrogative sentence. Okay, so here we have do you play football becoming why do you play football. I only put the interrogative pronoun why, and it becomes a WH question. That's pretty easy. You just need to focus on the auxiliary verb, and the interrogative pronoun can be put here or might not be. That's not a really big deal. So let's go down and see how we change the verb if it has anything else added to it. Let's see another example. Here we have an example which says he plays football. It's also in present indefinite tense, and it's pretty much the same, just we have an added s to the main verb. That's because the subject is third person singular, as you know. So if there's anything added to the main verb, the auxiliary verb do takes up all those things and releases the main verb of any kind of added stuff. So here we have he plays football. If you want to change it into interrogative or even negative, what we need to do is take the help of the do verb, since play is an action verb, or which means something we do. So we bring the do verb, and it does take up the s from the play, and it adds as es, and it becomes he does play football. So he plays football and he does play football are basically the same thing. They mean the exact same thing. So what we do is put the does in front of it, and it becomes does he play football? It's a yes-no question. Again, you can change this question into WH question just by adding a WH word which goes with it, like why. Why does he play football? Or it could be how. How does he play football? They're basically the same. The yes-no question and the structure of the WH question is basically the same. So let's go a little bit further. So here I have another example written which says you played football. As you know, it's in past indefinite tense. So if you want to change it into interrogative sentence, what we need is, again, we need the help of the do verb, and we bring the do, and the do takes up the past tense of the main verb. So the do becomes the past form of do, which is did, and the play gets released of any kind of added stuff to it. So you played football becomes you did play football. So now you can change it into interrogative or negative, whatever you like. So you just put the did before the subject, and it becomes did you play football? It's a yes-no question, as you know very well. And we can change this yes-no question into a WH question only if we put an interrogative pronoun before it. Like we could put how did you play football? Or it could be why did you play football? Like in the example here down below. So that's how it works. You should take notes of all these things that you have learned. While changing direct speech into indirect speech, reverse this whole process and you get to this result, because we change direct speech into indirect speech, and when we find any interrogative sentence, it becomes an assertive sentence, as you know very well. And if you find difficult to do this process, just simply remove do, did, and didn't and change the tense of the main verb. That is, if you find do, change the main verb into past indefinite tense, because the do was already in the present indefinite tense. If you find did, it's in the past indefinite tense. You should remember before removing it that the whole sentence is in the past indefinite tense. So when you remove did, just change the main verb into past perfect, since the did is already in the past indefinite tense. If you find didn't, it's basically the same thing. You just change the main verb into past perfect and add this not to the had. So we will see it in the example further. And don't is an exception, because you can't actually remove don't. Instead, we change don't into didn't, which is also changing of present indefinite tense into past indefinite. That's the basic of the do verb. We will now look at the examples and see how we can solve some direct speech to indirect speech. Let's see. Okay, so here we have examples written down, and we will now change the direct speech into indirect speech. The first example says, Charles said to Michael, "Do you know me?" Now you can notice one thing, that all the two of the sentences are basically the same. I mean, the direct speech is pretty much the same. Like, do you know me? And here we also have do you know me, only the question is a WH question. So we have added an interrogative pronoun which says, how do you know me? Just like that, we have written down all the examples here. So let's see how we can solve it. Charles said to Michael, "Do you know me?" As you know very well that it's a yes/no question. So let's see how we write the answer. So I'm going to write Charles, and instead of said to, I'm going to write asked, since it's a question. Charles asked Michael. So we're going to put if, because it's a yes/no question, and for a yes/no question we put if because Charles is asking Michael to confirm that if he knew him. So we put the if, and then we put the subject if, because instead of you we're going to use he, because the you person is actually Michael, which is a male. So if he, and we put the do behind the subject, and we actually don't even need it, so we remove it totally. And remember that do is in the present indefinite tense, so the main verb will change into past indefinite. So if he knew, and me becomes him, because that's the objective form of the pronoun. Now the second question says, Paul said to Jenny, "How do you know me?" Now this time it's a yes WH question. So let's solve this. Paul asked Jenny, "How?" Now the same formula applies for this one too. We just simply remove do and change the main verb into past infinite. So how, since the person is a female, we are going to write how she knew him. So there we have our answer. Paul asked Jenny how she knew him. The third question says, William said to Nicole, "Did you pay the bill?" So here we're going to write William asked Nicole. It's again a yes/no question, so I'm going to put if, and the subject comes first. If Nicole is a female, if she. Now you know that did is in the past indefinite tense. We're going to remove did, but still remember that the sentence is in the past indefinite tense. So we're going to change it into past perfect. So if she had paid, so pay becomes had paid. That is, it becomes the past perfect. So William asked Nicole if she had paid the bill. The fourth question says, Harry said to Mary, "When did you pay the bill?" Well, these are actually basically the same question, but this one is just a WH question. That's the exception here. So we're going to write Harry asked Mary. So we're going to put the WH word when, and did is in the past indefinite tense. We're going to remove it and change the main verb into past perfect. Again, like before. When, this person is female, so when she, and instead of did, we changed pay into past perfect, when she had paid the bill. So there we have our answer. Harry asked Mary when she had paid the bill. Nathan said to Ivan, "Don't you learn English?" So this one is the one that has some exception. We don't actually remove don't, rather we just change the don't into didn't. That is present indefinite to past indefinite. So Nathan asked Ivan. So it's a yes no question. We're going to put if again, and for the subject we have a male, so we're going to say if he, and don't becomes didn't learn English. Okay, so there we have our answer. The next question says, Martha said to Jacob, "Why don't you learn English?" So we're going to write Martha asked Jacob, and put the WH word again. Why? Jacob is a male, so we're going to write why he, and don't becomes didn't. Josh said to Kate, "Didn't you complete the assignment?" So let's solve it. We're going to write Josh asked Kate. So it's a yes no question. We're going to put if, and the person Kate is the person referred as you here, so it's a female. We're going to write if she. So Josh asked Kate if she. Now didn't is in past indefinite tense. We're going to remove it and change the main verb into past perfect. So it becomes had, and we're going to put the not and add it to the had. If she had not completed, the past participle form of the complete. So Josh asked Kate if she hadn't completed the assignment. There you have your answer. The next question says, Abraham said to Jim, "Why didn't you complete the assignment?" So they're basically the same again. I'm going to write Abraham asked Jim, put the WH word again. Now we're going to remove didn't and change the main verb into past perfect tense. And for the pronoun you, we have the person Jim, which is a male, so why he had, and also add the not to it, why he hadn't completed the assignment. So that's pretty much it. That's how you solve direct speech to indirect speech, especially the questions that starts with do, did, don't, and didn't. They could be either yes, no, or WH. It doesn't really matter. The pattern is pretty much the same. That's it for today. So dear students, I hope you understood the lesson perfectly. If you face any kind of problem, let me know in the comments below. And I strongly urge you to practice it at home and try it for yourself. And in the next videos, stay connected with us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share with your friends, family, and especially your classmates. Until I will see you in the next video, and until then, take care and don't forget to wash your hands for 20 seconds every time you touch anything. Stay safe, stay well. Goodbye.